Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Catatonia's YouTube channel, starring me, the Mighty Crino. This is Bosses Only, the video series where we look at just the bosses from a dungeon, because you're not stuck on trash, you're stuck on bosses! From the Dragon Bones DLC, this is Fang Lair. You may be wondering why it's called Fang Lair. Well, it's called that because there was once a gigantic fang that used to roam the countryside terrorizing people, and at the end of a hard day's work it would retire to its cave, or lair, to rest. And one day its cave collapsed on it, and some construction workers tried to get it free, but it was trapped. And if you've ever seen the movie Jason and the Argonauts, you'll know that a tooth, when buried, becomes a skeleton, which we're going to have to deal with. So this is technically the second boss of the dungeon, but we're going to treat it as the first, because the first boss is actually just waves of ads, and, well, ads are trash, and you're not stuck on trash. So this is the Cadaverous Menagerie, the first real boss. It's there's a skeletal guar, a skeletal senche, and a skeletal bear. Tank, get these three guys all stacked up together. Bring the bear and the senche over by the guar, and damage dealers, you're going to focus the guar and the senche down as quickly as possible. Once they go down, then you can get to work on the bear. Now, periodically, you see them at the back of the room there. These three wolf skeletons are going to spawn. Tank, run over there, crowd control them, get them to blow up, because if they get in on the group, that explosion does huge damage and can kill them. Once you've got the senche and the guy out of the way, continue just focusing down the bear. Burn him as much as you possibly can. You've got about a minute to do it before they get back up again. Now, the reason you want to do as much damage as you can to the bear is because once the guar and the senche are back up, the senche will pick a random player and pin him to the ground and kill him very, very, very quickly. You need to be ready to interrupt immediately, so damage dealers have crushing shock on your bar just in case, or someone who is a very fast runner needs to run over and bash that senche, stop it from killing the person. But if your DPS is high enough, you should be able to simply kill the bear long before the guar and the senche get back up. Again, just keep your eye out for those wolf skeletons, because when they spawn, they'll come running over and they will explode all over you, and that damage is huge. A little way into the fight, we'll also get some little like spore plant things that grow and explode around you, but we didn't even get that far. We burned it all down extremely quickly. Fantastic. So we'll loot our lockpicks, and then we'll make our way through this door up here, which takes us to the next boss. This is Caluurion. He's a lich, kind of like 𝕊𝕌𝔹𝕊ℂ℆�𝲼 in Crypt of Hearts. You know, he's a big floating skeletal granddad. He's got some interesting attacks, the usual stuff. Lich crystals that come out of the ground that exploded in AoE. He'll also fire some horrible poo from his staff that splashes all over the floor and can damage you. It's not a very difficult fight. It looks like it's more difficult than it is because of the amount of explosions going on, but they don't hurt all too much. The main mechanic with this fight is that from time to time, a totem around the edge of the room, there's one in each corner, will become active. There's a 𝕊𝕐𝕂𝕼 totem, for example, or I think maybe a mammoth totem, can't exactly remember, a serpent or snake totem. And when they become active, they'll be summoning like ghost forms of the ad that they are, that come around and attack you. And there will also be all these glowy, exploding skeletons running around. Now, these skeletons, when you kill them, the explosive damage they do actually does damage to the totem as well. So this totem became active, so we're running over to kill the totem. As you can see, it's quite resilient, got quite high resistance. It can take a while to burn down, even with both damage dealers attacking it. But these skeletons come over, kill the skeletons, and the explosion from them also damages the totem, making it a bit quicker to destroy. This is in fact 𝕊𝕐𝕼𝕼 totem. As you can see, we've also got electrical effects attacking us. Everybody has one of these around them, so don't stack together, because that is splash AoE that will affect anyone else standing in the circle. Once you've got rid of a totem, get back on the boss. As much damage as possible. Ideally, you don't want to be standing in the lich crystal explosions, and you want to avoid all the other splash damage that he does. It can be quite painful, and there isn't a doctor in the house. There's a healer, but I don't know where he is. I can't see him. He's there somewhere. I'm sure he's doing a fine job. In any case, we've done some pretty good damage to the boss. We probably could have pushed all the way and just finished him, but instead we're going to go and attack this other totem. Again, I wasn't paying attention, so I don't know which totem this is, but I'm sure it'll do some kind of deadly effect. Again, just burn it as quick as you can, blow up some skeletons on it. Oh, it's a lurcher totem, I think. So, what do lurchers do? Well, they're made of wood, so it probably does something very wooden to you. Probably gives you splinters. Anyway, the totem is destroyed. Avoid those poo splashes. Avoid the lich crystals, and continue burning the boss until he dies. Caluurion, when he was alive, before he was an undead skeleton man, used to be a lawyer, I think, and he used to prosecute criminals and send them to jail. He's dead, loot our lockpicks, and we'll go through this door to the next boss. This is Ulfnor. He is a skeleton. Above him is Sabina, his girlfriend, I'm assuming, who cries for her dead love even though she herself is dead. The two of them together make quite the formidable team. After a little bit of blither blather, he's going to get up and immediately start swinging. So Tank, grab the skeleton man that's lying down. You can ignore the ghost for now. The ghost is kind of undamageable. Now, when he swings his sword, some tornadoes of fire are going to come out from them. You'll want to avoid those. He also fears everybody. You want to avoid that if possible. And after you've been damaging him for a minute, a random player is going to be pinned to the ground. It's happened to our lovely damage dealer 𝕊𝕂𝒂𝒎𝒑𝒔, and the ghost starts chaining you over. Now while this is happening, Mr. Ulfnor is going to slowly walk over, and he will swing his sword, and it's a one-shot for the person laying down chained. So you need to destroy the ghost as quickly as possible when that happens. That's the only time the ghost is damageable. Aside from that, you'll also see all these little circles of fire spreading across the room. You'll need to sort of dodge around, kite, and avoid them before you continue damaging. And you just repeat. Damage the boss a bit. He's going to pick another random player, chain them to the floor, start dragging them in. And when that happens, the boss will slowly walk toward that person, getting ready to kill them. So you'll need to destroy the ghost as quickly as possible before that person is killed. Again, the boss is doing his little fire circles. You'll need to continue kiting them, and then get back on the damage. He's also got a flame breath attack. There's the ghost fearing you. But we've almost got him. Hopefully we'll have him dead before he chains the third person. The worst thing that can happen, of course, is the tank get chained, because unless you're really good, that's possibly going to be a wipe for the team. But we have in fact killed him. Congratulations, loot your lockpicks. And we will make our way... Well, I was going to say we'll make our way to the final boss, but it actually looks like we're just going to hang out. Nope, we're here. We're at the final boss. You've got to drop down this cliff and take a bunch of damage. And as you can see, that procced the earth gore from our healer, and everybody is feeling much better. So the tank's running all the way over to the exit to this room to read that magazine, which will activate the hard mode, and this really is a hard mode. Remember what I was telling you about when a tooth gets buried underground? It grows into a skeleton? That's what happened here. Just like in that movie, Jason and the Argonauts, so, yes. Very comical. So this particular boss, in the opinion of me, is possibly the toughest hard mode in the game, just because there's a lot of RNG to it, a lot of things that can go wrong that really are out of anyone's control that just happen. And for that reason, I say this is pretty tough. So one of the mechanics, you've just seen it there. You'll see these three sort of triangular cone AoEs. You want to stand in the gaps, otherwise you'll be hit with ice damage that does a hell of a lot of damage. Now, tank ideally needs to keep the dragon skeleton as close to the center of the room as possible. The dragon is going to constantly put this big poison AoE on the floor, which spreads and grows and spreads and grows and eventually fades away when he puts another one down. Now at 85, 75, 65 and 55% of the boss's health, one of these crystals is going to become active and adds are going to be summoned, including a Bone Colossus, which, if you remember, Clash of Bones is a very hard and dangerous hit that you don't want to be hit by, so you need to keep an eye out for that. Now the tank really has a lot going against him in this fight. You're trying to keep him in one place, but at the same time you're trying not to stand in that poison AoE, because blocking or not, it does a massive amount of damage and it will kill you. You can't stand in it, so it's a mobile fight. You've got to keep moving, but ideally you want to try to kite around the outside of that poison circle as it grows, so that you are basically keeping the dragon as centered as possible. The dragon will also spit a couple of beetles at the tank. You don't want to be hit by them when they come, so dodge roll. They will put a poison dot on you, which you also want to avoid. You can CC them, and the damage dealers can take them down. Now keep your eye on Orin here, as you've just seen. Every so often he'll teleport down, and he will be firing these poo balls at the group. He fires them at everybody. It doesn't take much to wipe the group. They do a huge amount of damage. You need to interrupt, and you need to interrupt right away. So this is why each damage dealer tends to stick around in sort of a different side of the room, so that there's always somebody nearby to interrupt him when he comes down and does it. And if possible, if the tank is nearby, he can just run over and bash real quick. We've just had another crystal and destroyed it as quickly as possible. Now, if it gets too much, with poison being too near to your crystal and everything, and the Bone Colossus is going to get free, the tank can taunt it and bring it over, and it'll die pretty quickly in the AoE over there. Again, avoid those ice AoEs from the dragon, and don't be standing behind him either, because he will do a tail swipe that also does quite a bit of damage at the same time that he does that 3 triangular ice breath attack. See, we're still doing our best to keep him in the center of the room. Keep your eye out for Orin. You never know when he's going to pop down and start with his crap. You'll need to be ready to interrupt him. That poison, it never stops, it just keeps coming. Now once we've dealt with all the crystals, as you've seen, Orin summons a wall of ghosts that spans the length of the room. If you touch them, you will die. Your allied NPC that's here to help you will create these golden walls you can hide behind. It will destroy any ghosts that touches it, leaving a gap for you to safely go through. Now he summons them one after another, and all you can really do is watch for that golden NPC, she's over there on the left, wait for her to create that safety wall, and everybody get behind it. The ghosts that touch it are destroyed, and you've got a gap to get through. Keep your eye on where he's going to land next. You don't know which side of the room it's going to be, but he's going to continue creating these walls of ghosts right up until the point that you get the dragon down to around about 6, maybe 5% of his health, when the fight is going to, amazingly, get even harder still. Looks like we're almost there now. It's just a case of avoiding the lich crystals and the poison pool, and seeing where the golden NPC goes to create that safety wall while attacking the boss the whole time. It is just the nature of the fight that because of that big poison pool, you can't simply keep the dragon still and stack a bunch of AoE on him. You have to keep moving, which is what makes the fight last as long as it lasts. We've got another ghost wall, running over to it, and we are going to hide behind it. Catatonia has just passed away. Let's see if we can get a res. Looks like we're doing it right now. She lives once again. Amazing. Another ghost wall. Where is the safety wall? Here it is. Let's get behind it and let's keep damaging the boss. We've almost got him. And there we go. At this point, Orin merges with Thurvokun, and this fight is going to get a lot harder. The ghost walls continue to come. However, there is no golden NPC making a safety wall for you anymore. What there are instead is there are random gaps in the ghost wall. Find those gaps and get to them. And after a while, Thurvokun will scream. You will be feared. Break free and find a gold circle. You should all stick to 1/4 of the room. There will always be a circle there. Once you get it, it gives you a buff that protects you from that poison ball that just was launched at you. That is a one-shot if you do not get the gold circle buff. So during this phase, everybody stick to a different quarter of the room. There will always be a gold circle for you. Try not to be getting someone else's and leaving them stranded on the other side of the room, unable to get a gold circle. If that happens, you're going to lose people, and there's really no margin for error. There's no real chance to get a resurrection during this phase of the fight. You can, if you've got a gold circle, when he climbs up the wall, but that's about your only chance to get a res. Again, we need to get a gold circle. It helps if you're a Sorc to have the streak ability on your bar to get to your circle quickly if you're caught away from it. At every 10% of the health damage you do to the boss from this point forward, a Bone Colossus is going to spawn. Tank can grab them if possible, and we'll get them. They need to be taken out immediately. We'll get them taken out. They are the priority targets even over the boss once they spawn because of that Clash of Bones attack, which if it hits anyone but the tank is going to kill them. And for the tank, it's going to do quite a good amount of damage. But you'll see it coming and you can dodge roll. It's just very important to get rid of those Colossus. And it's also important to remember that this is not a DPS race. You don't want to damage the boss, because again, at every 10%, one of those Bone Colossus is going to spawn. That means you can have multiple of them up at a time. That is not at all what you want. So we've lost a couple of players. Fortunately, we've managed to get a res off. Or have we? Get the other res. And again, keep your head on a swivel for those ghost walls, because you never know where the gaps are going to be, and if you touch a ghost, you're dead. And this is where some of the RNG in this fight comes into play. Sometimes things can just go wrong. You could get staggered, you could get knocked by a Bone Colossus, you could be trapped between a rock and a hard place. The spreading AoE poison on the floor means you can't go one way, a Bone Colossus means you can't go another way, there's nowhere for you to go, and you get knocked into a ghost wall. It's just very difficult. Unfortunately, we have lost Catatonia once again, but I have a feeling it's not going to stay that way for long. Looks like someone is resurrecting her right now. She's back in the fight. Fantastic. you can see, we did a little bit too much damage and had 2 Bone Colossus up. One of them's been taken out, now we've just got to deal with the other. And we've lost one of our damage dealers. That's never a good thing. Honestly, if anyone needs to die in this fight, it should be nobody, ideally. But if you had to pick someone, probably it's okay if the tank goes down, because you're going to be running around anyway to get to the circle when the dragon screams, and that gives you a bit of time to get a res. But if you're a Magsork, remember to use your shields. Keep avoiding those ghost walls, keep taking out the Colossus. Always switch focus from the dragon to the Bone Colossus when he spawns. As you can see, there are a lot of things going on. This is a very, very intense, mechanic-heavy boss fight. Another ghost wall coming. Hoping she notices it and gets out of the way in time. Oh, that was very close. There really is a lot going on with the ghost walls, the poison AoE, the dragon screaming and fearing you, the Bone Colossus coming up, the Lich Crystals appearing, the AoEs. It's a pretty crazy fight. And watch out for the ghost wall. Probably should mention all these little stupid archers and melee skeletons that keep appearing too, because there's a lot of them. They spawn periodically too. I'm not exactly sure what the criteria is for them spawning, but they pop up around about the same time as the Bone Colossus. Another big exploding AoE, another ghost wall. Let's avoid the triangular attack. He still does all his attacks. He's about to scream again. You're feared, break free, find a gold circle. There's always one in your corner of the room. Everybody get that buff. It protects you from the big poison shot that's coming from the dragon. There it is. We've got another Bone Colossus. We need to take it out. Again, lost one of our damage dealers. We've managed to get the res. Fantastic. Another Bone Colossus. Switch your focus from the dragon to the Bone Colossus. He is now the priority. He's got to go. Ulti's free on this one too. Try to put them in the center of the room, because the tank's going to do his best to keep the dragon in the center of the room and just kite around that big poison AoE pool, which, again, it's never not there. It spreads to a huge size, then it disappears, but at that point, the dragon has put a new one up. Sure we've got that gold circle buff. Watch out for the ghost wall, it's coming from behind us. Smart move, Catatonia. Get far away like that, give you plenty of time to see where it's coming from. Another ghost wall coming from the same side. We've got plenty of time to see it coming. Almost there. It's very interesting seeing this from the damage dealer's perspective. I've only ever seen this myself from the tank's perspective, and of course that you get nothing but a big screen full of dragon bones. I say, for the tank specifically, it's a challenging one. It's challenging not only because of the AoE pool on the floor that you're constantly having to kite around while trying to keep the dragon centered, but then this phase, when the Bone Colossus spawn, you need to try to taunt them, but sometimes you've got line of sight issues where you can't taunt him because this gigantic dragon that's filling his screen is in the way. And we have done it! Thurvokun is dead. Loot your lockpicks and your Thurvokun hat. And apparently, when we recorded this, it was our first time doing the hard mode. Because we've also just acquired the Challenger achievement and unlocked the Worm Wizard personality, which lets you pretend to be a necromancer even if you're not that class. And that's it. Congratulations! Subscribe here on YouTube if you like what you see by hitting the subscribe button, and press the bell to be notified when we've got new videos. You can also check out the Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course you're already here on YouTube, and the stream at twitch.tv/Catatonia. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Bosses Only! You scrub.